Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. We're going to do another simple thing today, but we're going to be focusing on Dynamo. If you do not know what Dynamo is an add-on inside of Civil 3D that aids you in your Civil 3D workflow, allowing you to write scripts, to automate tasks that take a lot of time. That's just what I think it is. That's probably not what Google says it is, or AI. I don't know, you can search. But what we're going to do today is we're going to write a script that allows you to make all the layers in your drawing a single color. The reason I'm making this is because we do a lot of existing drawings, with drawings that have existing items in them on a particular site. And more oftentimes than not, that existing drawing needs to be the same. All items in that drawing needs to be the same color. And sometimes it does need to be halftone as well. So we are going to write a Dynamo script that allows you to do all those things in one click. So here we go. So I've got a site over here. And you can see there's a lot of different colors on the site. We want to make that site all the same color. So we're going to just open Dynamo. You will find it under the Manage tab if you've installed it. You can just, if you don't have Dynamo, it comes with Civil 3D. But if you don't have it, you can just do a quick Google search. Google will take you to the right place. Cool. Once we have Dynamo open, click New. Okay, fantastic. And then this is the screen you are greeted with it. So I'm not going to go through the basics of Dynamo. If you're watching this video, you probably understand the basics already. All right. The first thing we need to add is something that looks at the current document. So you can, in the search bar, you can just type current and you'll see the document. So this is the one we want to add. Current document. There it is. Right. So this is the current document that we're looking at. And then after that, because we're going to be working with the layers, we need to look at the layers of the current document. Fantastic. So then it's right in that same subsection, layers. Perfect. And we're immediately just going to plug document into the document side of layers. All right. So another important thing is you'll see that as I'm busy with it, it's running, it's constantly running the script. And I would suggest that you go to the bottom left corner and turn automatic to manual. This way, you won't be continuously running the script in the background, so your drawing won't change. The drawing will only change once you click the run button. Perfect. So once we've got that layers, you can look at it over there. You can see that's all the layers, so you don't have to pin that over there. You can hide that. The next thing that we need to do is we need to find a node that can manipulate the colors of layers. Okay, so let's have a look. So here's some add-ons. You can find add-ons on the Autodesk website as well. So you need the Civil 3D Toolkit add-on. If you don't know how to find it, you can again do another Google search. You can just type Civil 3D Toolkit for Dynamo, something like that. Google will take you to the right place. So we're just going to have a look in the Civil 3D Toolkit. We are working with AutoCAD and we need layer extensions. So it says here by name color. And if you hover over the node, it explains what it does. This one creates a layer in AutoCAD. If the layer exists, it assigns the color. That's exactly what we need, right? And you can see it in there. So you can just zoom out like this. If you hover over that, it's calling for a string and it's the name of the layer. And because we've got this Dynamo layers over here, this big list, come on, there we go. These are all the Dynamo layers. You can plug that directly into the name. Perfect. The next thing we need is to assign the colors to all of those layers in that node, right? So you can see it's red on the side there, which means it doesn't have a default value. Okay, so we need to assign the color and we want to manipulate the color by editing the RGB properties of this color, right? So if you just do a right click on the screen, it will give you a search bar and you can type the word color. So you can see the first node says by RGB, which means you are creating a color in this node by manipulating the RGB properties of that node or of that color. Okay, so for now we can plug that color in there and you can see these colors like the alpha, red, green and blue, they've got blue lines on the left hand side, right? That means that it's got a default value, but you don't want to use that default value. You want to assign the color. And you see it's calling for an integer. An integer is a number. So you can right click and you can type number. Just open that node. And you can actually copy this and paste two more of them, right? So you're going to plug in a number for the red. You can plug in the number for the green. You can plug in a number for the blue. We're not going to edit the alpha. The alpha is at 255, I think. 255, which is completely normal. That's fine. It won't affect anything in your script. Okay, cool. And now what you need to do is you need to minimize Dynamo and you need to see what color you would like your existing layout to be. And sometimes that can be dictated by the client, or if you have a standard that you follow for what the color of your existing layout should be, you can go for that, right? But I'm just going to click this line here and I'm going to open the color palette so that I can see which color I would like to assign. So I'll go true color, and we normally do gray. So it looks like it's 128 by 128 by 128. So that's what we're going to plug in by the red, green, blue input parts of the Dynamo node that we're busy with, right? So it's what we say, it's 128 by 128 by 128. Perfect, right? And that's manipulating the colors of all those layers, like your entire list of layers, right? But then we can go one step further, because I've seen it in this drop-down menu over here. We can set the transparency of all these layers as well, because sometimes, and on a recent project as well, we've needed to make our existing layout halftone, which is quite perfect. And you see, so you plug that node in over there, you see there's a default value for the transparency, but it's calling for a double. A double is a number as well. So you can copy this, you can paste it again over there, you plug that in, and your transparency, if it's halftone, your transparency is 50%. Fantastic. And this might be the entire script basically that you've written, right? So if we bring it to the side over here and we click run, everything in the drawing over there should change. So we click run and you can see everything has changed. That's absolutely perfect. Some things that I've noticed do not change is if you've got a block. Because a block has got items with inside it, Dynamo doesn't link inside the blocks. You will need to do that by yourself and then change the color. And I see some hatching over here is also not changed. And that could be because, yeah, those hatches are not assigned by layer. So if we just select similar to select all the hatching, go to color and say by layer, you will notice that it indeed is grayed out, but it just wasn't set to by layer. And then all of these other things are blocks, of course, so that you would need to manipulate on your own as well. What are these red ones? See, so these are text also that has not been assigned to by layer, so you can just select them all, go to your color and assign by layer, and there you will see everything is grayed out. And just like that, you've quickly manipulated all the colors in your existing drawing to be grayed out, which is quite fantastic. So another step further, what we can do is we can create inputs so that we don't have to open up the script every time we want to run the script on a drawing, so that we can run it in the Dynamo player, right? And that's very easy to do. All you have to do is click the 3 red buttons and say, let's say rename, right? So we'll say rename and we call that red because that's the red input, right? And then also say is input. So that will tell Dynamo that this is an input that you can show to your user for them to assign a number to this node, basically. And we'll do the same for this. We'll say rename, and I think that's green, perfect. And then again, 3 dots is input. Last one, rename, that's blue, and also is input. And then we'll do the transparency as well, because you want to create inputs of everything that you control, right? So whatever you're going to manipulate, that needs to be an input. The layers and all of those things, those are all standard stuff, so you won't need to change those inputs. This I'm going to call transparency, and that is also an input. Okay, perfect. So I've created this script before. I'm just going to close this one, and then I'm going to show you an example. I'm not going to save it. I'm going to show you an example of the one that I've created, which runs inside of Dynamo Player, right? So I'm going to undo all of this, all the way to the start, like that, right? And I'm going to show you my Dynamo Player script that I wrote. The exact script I just showed you, right? So that's called existing drawing to halftone. So it's this one, you click this block over here, and that'll bring up, see, and here the inputs are. So I'll go 190. So it shows the blue, that's the transparency. It's a bit out of order. So it's blue, transparency, green, and red. I'm going to leave it. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to change it to wear it on 128. And just for fun, I'm going to say our transparency is going to be 80%. And I'll make 128 over there as well. And I'll make 128 over there as well. And I'm going to play it. And there you can see everything has changed. Obviously, those other small things haven't changed because I just unpick everything. But you can go ahead and select everything that's showing in color. You can say select similar and you'll see that it's all different colors. It was supposed to be all on bilayer, but since you put it on bilayer, you can see everything changed. Okay, excellent. I hope that video helped you. I hope that video shows you that Dynamo is not as scary as you might think it is. Dynamo is actually a very powerful tool that I think all engineering offices definitely need to have in their arsenal because it aids you in production, precision, and time management. So yeah, don't be afraid to leave a comment for whatever you want to ask a question, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.